Welcome to This Week in Vexly. To start off, we will recap our ideas from last week's video. First idea we liked was Tesla as a short for the week. We mentioned last week that Tesla had major positive gamma at 180 going into the week and wanted to see rejections there for a chance to short. Tesla closed at 180 on Friday. This was a slow one to trade, but from Monday's open to low of week Tesla was down 2%. Next we liked AFRM as a short going into the week, but Pluto was signaling long, and we had peak positive positioning at 12, ideal we wanted a move over 12 to short. On Monday we got a move up to 13, and from there to low of week we saw a 7% drawdown. Our next idea was a short on LI for the week. We saw last week that 30 was an area that got rejected last week, so we looked for this as a spot to short again. We also had a sell signal by the market maker model. A short from high of week, which was just about 30 down to low of week, resulted in a 6.3% move down. For our final recap from last week, we liked Disney as a long going into the week due to the long signal on Pluto and the market maker model. Along with the bid we saw $92 was getting in the week prior. From Monday's open to high of week, Disney was up 3%. Looking back at last week, while watching liquidity, we saw CB swaps remain relatively flat with a minimal decline, though inventory is greater than levels seen since January, which is where we began our rally. Looking at overnight repo action, we see the Fed buying has declined, likely due to response to community bank failures like FRC. As a result, we see Fed supportive flows declining. Looking at the Fed balance sheet, we can see tightening has gotten more aggressive, although it is important to note that these were levels noted back in January, so this decline on a net-net basis is minimal, given the major bump in assets held during March. Next we want to look at market returns. Looking at our market view tool, we have hit positive returns on the daily time frame, where we generally see a reversion to the mean, which would mean a slight decline. But we do still have possibility to see a slight continuation higher before a reversion. The same pattern is to be noted on the weekly time frame as well. There have only been 12 other weeks with returns greater than this prior week in the last 2 years, in which these periods we experienced a reversion to the mean following the positive week. With that being said, let's look at our SPX heat map, where we want to note some levels to watch for this week. We see 4,200 as being a top on SPX, and are watching for a move down to 4112 and possible 4,062 if selling gets aggressive. Now let's get into our ideas for the week. Starting off, we like Apple as a short. Apple is a short on the market maker model, and Pluto signaled a short late last week. Looking at our gamma profile, we see a large positive wall at 175 and 180, which would be an ideal place to short. Looking at our Vanna profile, we want to note the positive peaks at 175, 180. Apple's skew is positive going into this week, but turns negative after the week. Looking at our VX levels, we can see 175 is a make or break level for Apple, and we'll be watching it closely this week. For our next idea, we like Meta as a short going into the week due to the short bearish signal from our market maker model. Pluto signaled a sell last week and price fell, so we are neutral now on Pluto, but are watching for another sell signal. Looking at our gamma levels, we see a large wall at 250, and on Vanna, we see the same position at 250 along with a large negative position at 240. Looking at skew for Meta, it is flat for the week. Looking at our VX levels, we can note the 248 rejection we saw last week, and that will be a spot to watch for this week. Next we like Coin as a long going into this week. Coin is a long on the market maker model, and Pluto is close to signaling a long. Looking at our gamma and Vanna profiles, we can see Coin is in negative territory on both, along with skew being deeply negative. This means a lot of the option activity is short, and Coin has the potential to revert back to 60 to 65. Looking at the VX levels, we can see the heavy selling coin faced last week. But we have a ghost print back to 60. For our final idea, we like Square as a short due to it being on the market maker model as a short. Looking at Pluto, it is coming off a sell from last week, and we will be watching for another sell signal. Looking at our Gamma and Vanna profiles, we see a wall at 60 for Square and skew is positive going into the week, but turns negative after the week. Looking at our VX levels, we can see the clean rejection at 60 last week, and we'll be watch for that again this week. To recap, we saw a nice positive return last week, and are watching for a possible mean reversion type of move this week, while we are still seeing liquidity dry up. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe for more.